Hey, 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 welcome back to Mommy Reboot TV. I'm your host, Jody Agard. Okay, so what exactly is self-care? Oh my gosh, I get this question so much, especially when it comes to working with moms. And the truth is it's a good thing that self-care has become mainstream, but it's a bad thing because I feel like since it's become mainstream, it has complicated like exactly what it is, and it's just made for lots of confusion and kind of just like it feels like this thing that's way far out there, and it's not, and it's very attainable, especially for us moms. And so I really wanted to do this video to talk about exactly what self-care is for the busy juggling mama. And here's the deal, is that I am all about practicality and simplicity, because it really can't be anything other than that when it comes to self-care and us mamas. It just can't. Otherwise, it just won't work. So I have a couple of tips and tools and strategies, and there's three little ways, three ways I'm answering this question today. The very first is self-care is whatever the heck you want it to be. It's really as simple as that. Whatever it is that you need it to be, that's what it is. And I know that isn't a direct answer, but you can absolutely come up with your own answer, your more of a solid definition, by keeping these three questions in mind. One is, what is that something that I need that will make me a little bit more calm? That's one. The second question you can ask yourself is, what is that something that I need to feel a little bit more okay? Just a little bit more okay. Then the third is, what is that something that I need to feel a little bit more like myself? So just keeping those three questions, those are really three important key questions when it comes to creating any kind of self-care plan, is what are those things? Because they're going to show up in a different way every day, really, and we can't shove ourselves into a box. But asking yourself those three questions will lead you to your more definitive answer of what exactly is self-care for you, because it's different for everybody. Not all moms are going to fit into the same box. It really depends what season we're in. You know, if the mom who has a toddler is going to be in a different season than the mom who has a teenager. So it really is a matter of just really asking yourself those three questions. Then, second one is, self-care means intentionally showing up for yourself. That's what it is. And again, keeping those three questions, those three key components earlier in mind. How can you intentionally show up for yourself? And by the way, this is not something you want to wait towards the end of the day for. You want to ask yourself, how can I show up for myself every single day in little tiny nuggets of time throughout the day? How can I decompress throughout the day? And that might mean reading a book for a few minutes. That might mean throwing some lip gloss so that you feel a little bit more like yourself. That might mean putting yourself in a timeout, literally, like just to go breathe for a few minutes while your husband or partner finishes cooking dinner. That might mean that you have a chat with a girlfriend. That might mean you go out to a lunch and do the bigger things. That might mean that you take a longer hot shower when you come home from work or before you leave for work, or you take a bath. But again, keeping those three questions is from number one in the back of your mind. What is it? How can I intentionally show up for myself today in this very moment? That might mean, by the way, if you're working full time in an office, that you go into the bathroom and you just take a few deep breaths to recenter yourself because you had a really crappy morning. The key is that you're intentionally showing up for yourself, and it's not so important about how long you're showing up for yourself. That really doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you're showing up for yourself an hour for an hour massage, because, by the way, who has time for that? Like, those are bonus self-care. That's not practical self-care when it comes to us mamas. But it doesn't matter how long you're showing up for yourself. It could be literally 2 minutes or 50 minutes. It doesn't matter. They're still very meaningful, and they can still affect you in a positive way, however you show up for yourself in your self-care practice. Okay, and then the third is knowing who you are and your boundaries. So putting down that superwoman cape and saying, okay, enough is enough. I've got too much to handle and I am not superwoman, and I am going to ask for some help. I am going to create the boundaries in my life. I am going to not feel like I have to do this all on my own, because I know that all of us mamas can definitely get caught up into that story that it's all on our shoulders, right? But we have to be the ones who say, no, this is just enough. I've got a lot on my plate. I know what I need, and I need a few minutes. I need to intentionally show up for myself. So let those negative emotions guide you. When you're feeling crappy, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling cranky, let that be kind of a little alarm that goes off that says, hey, when was the last time you showed up for yourself? When was the last time you intentionally showed up for yourself for a couple of minutes? Okay, so that's pretty much it. And no matter how you end up defining it, just remember this, that you will never have time for self-care. There will always be something to do. There is always going to be something on your to-do list. There's always going to be laundry. There's always going to be kids. There's always going to be something pulling you away from yourself, which is why you have to make it a priority and not wait for the things, not wait for the house to be clean, not wait until the dishes are done to show up for yourself. Again, it doesn't matter about the time. It more matters that you're showing up for yourself. And that's essentially what self-care is. Because at the end of the day, you deserve it. And that's the biggest message I want to give you right now, is that you deserve to have self-care in your life and to intentionally show up for yourself, just like you're showing up for your kids and you're nurturing them and you're caring for them. Show up for yourself. Okay, I hope that answers your big question of like, what is this self-care thing? Because it's simple and it's practical, and we don't need to make it complicated. In fact, we can't make it complicated because it's just not practical. Right? Okay, so that's all I have for now. If you thought of that little mama who really, really needs to hear this message, please share this video and this post. And if you are not already a part of the private Facebook community called Mommy Reboot, we would love to have you. We're just an awesome little group of, that's actually all around the world. It's not so little anymore. That are growing and learning about these things, and I always show up there and do private videos. So if that interests you, head over to Facebook and join our Mommy Reboot private group. Talk to you later.